Pardon? Hello. Happy Tuesday the 13th. My favorite number is the 13, by the way, if y'all didn't know that. Fun fact about Joseph. This call is actually going to tie right into the new business of Unconquerable. And so we're going to talk about excuses and mindset. Thanks, Kalila. Jerry, not sure what you're doing, but Kalila says, welcome to the party. And so we're going to talk about excuses and mindsets. It's something we've dove into the past or in the past, and I think a lot of us struggle with these things, especially during the holidays. So probably for the next couple of weeks, we will take a deep dive into kind of excuses and time management and stress. What's up, Josh? Man, drive safe and all that good stuff. And so we'll kind of wrap the year up with just hopefully some more accountability, some more ideas, and some more things to execute on so we don't feel so stressed, so overwhelmed, and all that good stuff. All righty. So if you are not driving, I need you to put in the chat box. I see like 14 of y'all are driving. There's only 12 of you on here. That's okay. Put it in the chat box, some excuse words that you use, right? And so when someone asks you to do something or when I ask you to do something, what are some things that pop in your head that's an excuse to not do something or to blame something? Put me through some of those. Sarah says not enough time. I think everyone's gonna say not enough time. Not enough time. Not enough time. Tired. Another one. Keep it coming. Sarah, it's so good to see you getting involved here. Just love it. I don't feel like it. Katie says, have other books I'm reading. Megan says. Someone told me today I tried to get someone to read Atomic Habits today, and they said, I'm reading another book. And I was like, okay, rude. Too busy, too cold. Crazy. I'll do it tomorrow. So we got some procrastination going on as well. So hopefully we can kind of push through some of that. Fun fact about Jerry and I actually work out almost every morning together at 5:30 a.m. if y'all are curious. So if you're bored and you're in San Antonio, Texas, you want to go to Gold Gym on Bandera at 5:30 a.m. every day, you'll meet Jerry and I there. Procrastination is a huge one. I need more sleep. That's a lie. You don't need more sleep. I'm a prime example of not needing more sleep. I also don't know how healthy that is, by the way. So don't quote me on that one. I don't know what to do. Katie, great one. Let's dive into that a little bit in a second. Um, Pflugerville, yeah, I would love to, Lauren. You know, it's a little far drive, but we'll figure it out one day. Maybe we'll take a road trip. Everyone, Facts Over Fads family and team. Let's head to Pflugerville. But yeah, so we hear, oh, I'm rushed, I'm busy, I'm stressed, I don't have enough time, I'm tired, procrastination, I'll do it tomorrow. All of those things almost pop in your head immediately. As soon as something pops in your head that you have to do something, or as soon as someone asks you to do something, it's almost immediate that we throw an excuse in. And so if we could stop right there and flip our way of thinking or our verbiage or how we talk to ourselves or how we talk to other people and become more of like, I've always seen the movie Yes Man, right? He just says yes to everything. That is what I would challenge you to kind of put yourself into. And Amy and I were talking before you guys hopped on. It seems like the busiest people, like who actually want to be busy, are like the most productive and the most successful because they just continuously make themselves busy and they're constantly always doing something. We never really ask for like a day off. We never really say, oh, I'm too stressed, I'm too busy, I got too much going on, right? And so I was telling Amy that not only do we have like Facts or Fads, up and running, full and functional, I'm also like the director of Camp Gladiator Nutrition. We also have Unconquerable going on. We also have to build a website for JoJo. Josie's on here. I got to build a website for her for our partnership with UHS. I've got like 4 or 5 massive projects going on right now, but I would never tell like Josie, like imagine if you emailed me today and I was like, you know what, I'm just like so busy, like super sorry, like can't do it right now, right? Like it's not, it just never crosses my mind, right? Or if like Jerry was like, Joseph, hey, we're gonna go work out at 5:30 a.m. tomorrow, and I was like, Jerry, you know what, like I'm too tired, man, I need some sleep, over and over. It just never crosses my mind. It's just, and again, kind of getting into that mindset of like, yes, man, I will figure it out. There's plenty of time in a day if we can work on time management, if we can work on productivity, if we can work on scheduling and our routine. There's plenty of hours in a day, I promise you. And so we've got to get rid of these excuse words and we've got to stop them before they start. And again, it's immediate. It's like as soon as someone asks you to do something, an excuse pops in your head. It's like it's crazy how we default to that route. Um, one more thing, and so just because you're busy, yeah, just because you're busy doesn't mean you're productive. So huge. Everyone thinks they're busy. Everyone is busy, but are we being productive? I'm not 100% sure, right? It's not about having time, it's about finding time. Another great one. We're all busy. We all are strapped for time. We all have, 24 hours in a day. It's just how we spend those 24 hours is vastly different. I'll never forget, I listened to Arnold Schwarzenegger do a bunch of speeches and stuff. And he said, okay, well, you're going to get 6 hours of sleep. And then everyone's like, what? And he's like, I know you think you need 8 hours. Well, I'm just going to tell you to sleep a little bit faster. And so I always like take that, like, imagine if you just got 6 hours of sleep, which is plenty of sleep. I think six is fine. I still don't get 6 hours, by the way, but I think if you could get six, I think you'll be okay. And so it gives us an extra couple hours, and hopefully those hours come in the morning, those extra hours. And in the morning, it like no one's watching Netflix at 5 a.m. If you're awake at 5 a.m., like you're doing something productive for yourself, for your family, or for your business. Like those are the only things you can do at 5 a.m. You're not going to watch Netflix at 5 a.m. You're not going to, I don't know, binge watch something or go somewhere in a negative state like, oh, I'm going out to dinner, or I'm going to a bar, or whatever the case may be. So what I'm saying is only positive things can happen at 5 a.m., which is where the power is of waking up early. So again, whether it's business oriented, whether it's for you, whether it's for your family, positivity happens early in the day. And so if we can wake up a little bit earlier, I think it's going to be huge for us. But diving into, and I asked this question in the Unconquerable group a little bit, but kind of our identity. So today's post was discipline is the only way to change your DNA, right? So if we really want to change who we are, it has to come from discipline, right? And so identity is huge. Stare the void at 5 a.m. For sure. You can sit there and stare. No, Natasha, we call it meditating. You're just meditating, that's all. But we've got to change our identity, right? And so put it in the chat box if you can, if you're not driving or if you're stopped. If someone was to ask you, like, I always like use like dating profiles, right? And so it's like if someone was like, hey, tell me about yourself, like who do you think you are? Like, so put it in the chat box, like what do you consider yourself? How do you think about yourself? Put in the chat box of like, I'll tell you right now, and it's not healthy at all. But when someone asks me like, Joseph, like, who are you? I'm like, I'm a workaholic. It's just like in my DNA, just who I am. It's not I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's right, but that's kind of how I identify myself. Lauren says dog mom plus 5 jobs, working mom, right? So keep it coming. How do you identify yourself? Fun, caring. Okay, I like it. Right. So it's like establishing like your dating profile. If someone's like, hey, tell me about you because I want to date you. What would you say about yourself? How would you sell yourself honestly? I guess is another big thing because we can all lie. Let's not lie. What are some more things, or how would you again identify yourself, whether we're a parent, whether we're a worker, a single parent with a demanding career? Lauren, you and me both, girl. Don't worry about it. You and me both. Problems while I'm single, 5 jobs, dog dad, like totally understand. But there's power in kind, caring, hardworking super mom. I love that. Heck yeah. All right. And so that's super positive, right? And so a lot of times, like, take what Amy said, kind, caring, hardworking super mom, and compare it to someone who maybe says, super stressed out mom, or super busy mom, or my life is chaos right now kind of mom, right? And so how we talk to ourselves is kind of what I'm getting at. How we talk to ourselves, how we portray ourselves is much more important than anything else. So we've got to stop the excuses when they start, but simultaneously we have to start thinking of ourselves a lot better. And so, and again, kind of in the Unconquerable group, and we've talked about it on Facts Over Facts calls before, is like you've kind of got to be your best hype man. You've got to be ready and willing to hype yourself up, and not necessarily in a cheesy way, but in a way of like, I got this, I can do this, I can handle this, I can manage this, right? The go-getter, the adventurous, outdoorsy, I love it. Always looking for the positive, right? Love it. And so if you can stop the excuses and start talking to ourselves like in a positive way, your life will change in the blink of an eye. It's like super crazy. It'll also decrease stress Because instead of telling yourself that your life is chaotic and you're super busy and you're not, and you're so tired, you don't have enough time, yada, 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 all that just creates more stress, more anxiety. So if we can stop talking like that, we would have a much more positive outlook on whatever we're about to go do. All righty. So now, once we kind of establish who we are or what we want to be known for, we need to establish our values, right? And so I think we forget to talk about or think about what is like deeply important to us. And sometimes we confuse that with happiness. So I don't want you to think about your values as like what makes you happy. I want you to think, and so I'm religious, and my priest did a speech about happiness versus joy, right? And so something that is joyous brings you joy forever and always. Something that it makes you happy could like die off tomorrow, right? And so put it in the chat box. What is deeply important to you? What are your values, right? And so what again, we always try to dive into like your 5 whys. We ask that a lot at Facts Over Fads to figure out, why are you eating healthy? Why are you trying to lose weight? Why are you trying to build muscle? Why do you want to work out more? Yada, yada, yada. We have to figure out why. We've got to get deeper than the superficial layer. And that comes to your values. So put in the chat box, what are some of your values? What are some of the things that bring you joy? What are some of the things that you don't want to lose? You want to hold on forever, ever and ever and ever. What are some of those things? I promise we're getting somewhere. This isn't going to be therapy all night. It might be therapy all night, mostly because I need therapy all night. Always looking for the positive, quality time, family and friends. My independence, time, family. Natasha, huge. My independence gets in my way a lot. It's actually, again, kind of like a negative. Too much of anything is a bad thing. Faith, family, friends. Keep it coming. What else we got in here? Got people bouncing all over the place. It's wild. I'm watching y'all bounce all over the place. Family, capturing moments together. I love it. Kalila, I will be the first to tell you that I'm the worst at capturing moments. Like, I have no idea why. People are like, did you remember when we did this? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. They're like, we were just there last week. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Probably because I'm never in the moment, if that makes sense, right? It's because I don't know why, but I got to settle down, slow down, think about being in the moment. Heck yeah. Too independent is an issue. It's for sure an issue. So what we're getting at is, okay, well, once we start to figure out who we are with our identity, which is what we talked about first, then we've got to figure out why we are the way we are, or who we're doing it for, or what we're doing it for, right? And so this is where your values come into play, and we can tie your values up into your health, right? And so if you really, really cared about your family, if you really, really cared about your faith, if you really, really cared about your friends, if you really, really cared about working, if you really, really cared about this or whatever, wouldn't you owe it to yourself to be the healthiest version of yourself possible? I think you would owe that to yourself, and you'd owe that to whatever you cared about, right? And a lot of times we don't. And a lot of times we say, well, it's because of my family that my health has dropped off, or it's because of my work that my health dropped off. We point the blame at the things we value most for making us the most unhealthy, right? Which it shouldn't happen that way. We should point the blame at the things we love the most for making us so healthy, right? Or making us prioritize ourselves that much more. So my parents are like, you are the hardest to convince of this. It's like, hey, I get that your kids are super duper busy and they take up all of your time, but you have to realize that you can't be a good parent if you are unhealthy, right? And so if you wanted to be a better parent, you have to take care of yourself. If you wanted to be the most fulfilling parent ever, you'd have to take care of yourself. And we can always, like, if we go to like the sporting route, right? And so kids always want to play sports, and they want to play sports with their parents, or they should want to learn how to play sports with their parents. But if we are not taking care of ourselves as parents, then we probably can't help them out at all. All righty. So make sure we're doing that, or travel with your kids, or helping them study. And if you can't manage your stress and your anxiety, you probably can't help them study very well. And so again, to get more involved, to be better involved, to be a better parent, you'd have to take care of yourself much, much more. All righty. So remember, figuring out our identity and then figuring out our values, hugely important, and they hopefully are in alignment with one another to help you take care of yourself. All right. So outside of your values, what comes first? What are your priorities? Give me like your top 2. And I'm setting y'all up for failure right now, because I don't think anyone's going to get it right. But what are your priorities? What is your top two priorities? Actually, I bet Natasha will get it right. What is like, wake up every day and you're like, I have to do this. What is that thing? According to everything that y'all have said so far, because I'm feeding it right off of all of this stuff. My phone is going crazy. Exercise. Natasha gets it right every time. Go to work. Our priority should be to provide. If we're parents, number one, or if we're super independent, someone's got to pay the bills and put food on the table, right? And so we have to work. And so how much better of an employee could we be, or how much better of a worker, or how much better of a business owner, or whatever the case may be, if we were more healthy, had more energy throughout the day, had a much more positive mindset and mentality behind all of it? How much better could we be at work? Now, not to say that that's going to take care of your toxic work environments. So like Deidre has to put up, where's Deidre? Is she on here somewhere? Deidre has to put up with me all day. Like that's toxic as crap. So sorry, Deidre, but hopefully she can take care of her own mental health. But so we have to kind of, and that priority is so weird and it's really hard to accept, but it's always, I will never forget when I sat down with a financial advisor and they were like, what is your biggest asset? And I was like, I don't know, like my business or like my house, or like, it's like, no, it's you. It's me. If I'm the one bringing in the money, if I'm the one kind of providing for myself or my family or my loved ones, I'm my biggest asset. And so my priority should be me, right? And so we've got to, again, take care of ourselves first so we can better take care of others, or so we can better be a better employee or a better worker, so we can provide better. So we, again, looping it all back to ourselves. It has to come from us. All right. And then we get to dive into all the other things that we talked about: Bible study, faith, religion, family, exercise, all of that good stuff. Right. None of that can happen if we don't take care of ourselves. All right. So make sure that is, again, looping you back to saying, I matter. And Deidre and I were talking the other day, like, it's like me too, right? Me too. It's time for me too. I've got to take care of myself if I want to take care of others, especially if I want to do a good job at taking care of others as well. All righty. So getting into some habits and some more thought processes, put it in the chat box if you can. What, and I think Natasha was probably on this call. We did this a year and a half ago. The call was from May 26, 2021. What is good about not changing, right? So if I just said, Lauren, stay exactly where you are right now. Don't change a thing about you. You're just so perfect. What would be good about that? Everyone put it in the comment. If you didn't change a thing right now, what good would come of it? Could be anything. And there's not a wrong answer. Less demanding, less stress, comfortable. We know what to expect. Caring communities, familiar, right? And so these things are good. You know how to do it, right? It's just so comfortable. It's so easy. You feel so confident because nothing's changing. You're doing it every single day, right? Comfortable. So now, what is bad about change? So let's switch gears. So we just talked about what was good about not changing, but what is bad about changing? Talk to me about that. I can get cold. Uncomfortable. It's scary, right? Change is scary. Change is uncomfortable. Change is unexpected. Bad about changing, Lauren. So what's bad about, like, so if we change, if Lauren, you were like, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to be better. You know, right? We have to sacrifice. Oh, it hurts so much. Never grow. It's hard to keep the momentum going. It's a huge inconvenience. Too much effort. I'll tell you the funniest story about inconvenience of doing something new and changing. Fear of failure, feeling inconvenient for sure. So when I moved into this house, I had like 3 pennant lights that I had to install myself over my island. I'm not an electrician by any means, but I can Google some stuff and YouTube some stuff. So I'm installing my first pennant light. I promise you, this is not an exaggeration. It took me 2 hours to put in like one drop down light thingy mabobber. It then took me like 45 minutes to do the second light. And then it took me 15 minutes to do the third light. Right. And so in the beginning, this was the biggest inconvenience. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't even know, again, I didn't even know how to be an electrician at all. Didn't know how to install a light or a drop down little pennant light thing at all. It took me 2 hours, way too much effort, super inconvenient, really difficult. It hurt my pride mostly. I had to make sacrifices to not like ask for help. And then I got better and better and better and better. All righty. So just know that whenever you change, whatever the change is going to be, just know that it is going to be uncomfortable and it is going to hurt. And you're always going to be scared of failing, right? Like if I would have not figured out how to do that first light, I don't know what I would have done. I would have like panicked. I would know who to call. I would know what to do. And so just know to buy the lunch. Me too, Natasha. And so we have to, and it's with anything. It's so funny. Like when Jerry and I first started working out together, again, 5:30 a.m. It was new to me. I had just left Camp Gladiator. I was not training one-on-one clients. I wasn't doing anything in the morning. It was like my first time in 8-9 years to not wake up at 4:30 for a reason, right? So normally my reason would be like to work or train clients. Didn't have that reason anymore. I took like a 2 months off of waking up early, and then I started working out again at 5:30 a.m. In the first month of driving to the gym every day, and granted, you guys, I don't know if you know this or not, I have a gym in my garage. I have a full gym, full dumbbells, all the way up to 80-pound dumbbells, a pulley system, a squat rack, a bench. I have everything in my garage I could ever possibly need. And I drive 20 minutes both ways to go to the gym to work out with Jerry. Now, the reason why is because I need other people to help hold me accountable. I kind of know, like, hey, Jerry's waiting. And we have a group of guys that are working. It's just not just me and Jerry, but I know that my friends are waiting for me. I know that Deidre is going to be there. And if I'm not there, she's going to pick on me. And so I drive out of the way to hold myself more accountable because of other people. And so that's hugely helpful for me when I needed to change. And it was hugely helpful for me when I was like, you know what, I'm in a rut. I'm waking up at like 9-10 a.m. every day, and I need to get out of this funk. So it helped me out significantly. Now, driving there every day was super uncomfortable. I was half asleep. I didn't want to go there. Most of the days it's raining, it's super dark. I should be in bed, yada, yada, yada. But now, you know what I'm doing? If you're an Unconquerable, when I'm driving to the gym, I'm listening to the YouTube video that I'm sending y'all for the challenge, if y'all are part of the challenge. So I listen to the video first, and then I send it to y'all second. That's like the funnest part of my days. I'm like searching for videos. I'm like, oh, that one stinks, this one stinks. And then I send it to you guys. And so now it's like it's like not an inconvenience at all. It doesn't scare me at all. And so I love it. So just know, no matter what you do, if it's driving to the gym at 5:30 a.m. or installing a light bulb, it's going to be hard. It's going to be an inconvenience, and it's going to get better. All righty. So when we start talking about change, we have to think about what is in the way of us changing. What's in the way? And so in the lesson that I learned about, it was called like logs. We've got to move the logs. What logs are in the way? All righty. And so most of us, it's time. So we have two options. We can do better with time and time management and scheduling and routine, or we can wake up earlier. Those are kind of like our only two options. And so if time is in the way, that's our low-lying log that is kind of saying, hey, I can't do this or I can't do that because I don't have time. We've got to get better with time management, or we've got to wake up early. All righty. If I'm tired, I've got to either get more sleep, which is counteractive to what we just talked about, or I could actually be healthier. And if I was healthier, that would help give me energy, right? So could I eat better? Could I drink better? All of that good stuff, right? So could I pour into myself positive? We always say, what you put into your body, you're going to get out of it, right? And so if we're constantly tired, constantly sore, constantly in pain, we're probably fueling ourselves in a negative manner. So try to eat healthy, try to drink more fluids, try to drink less caffeine. That's not happening for me, but for some of you, maybe drink less caffeine, all righty? Or are we stressed? Now, I'm very blessed and cursed to not hold on to things very, very much, right? And so I don't hold grudges. I don't like have a very big emotional connection with things or people, unfortunately. And so the tip here was like learn to let go, right? So we've got to learn to let go. Had a great call with Megan today about kind of letting go and letting it be and just kind of accepting what it is. And it's super powerful if we can learn to let go, right? Super hard, but, and again, part of my childhood is the reason I am the way that I am, but if it's out of our control, there's nothing we can do about it. So if it's out of our control, if we can't fix it, if we can't adapt, change, and overcome it, we've got to let it go, right? We just have to let it go. So if you are stressed, most of the time, we've got to let it go. All righty. Yeah, Terry says less caffeine, not an option. So top 3 things of big logs kind of in our way. Time, we've got to get better at time management, routine, schedule, or wake up earlier. So create more time in the day. And I think I put this in the Unconquerable group, but just because we have to maybe drop to 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night doesn't mean this is going to be forever. I'm not telling you to go get 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night for the rest of your life. That's not what I'm saying. But in a time of trial or in a time of change or in a time of, hey, I need to get my butt up and go do something productive with my life or else, we might have to sacrifice some sleep. All righty. So just know that. But if we are tired and we are sacrificing sleep and we are tired, then we have to be ready to take care of ourselves internally through nutrition and hydration and exercise, right? So it's really funny, like starting my day and working out at 5 a.m., I'm not that tired throughout the day. Not as tired as I thought I was going to be. When I was coaching and doing one-on-ones and boot camps and stuff at 5 a.m., I would come home every day at like 6:30 and I would sleep until like 10 because I wasn't really doing anything. I was just standing there and coaching. Now when I exercise and I come home, like I'm like, oh, I got to drink my protein shake. I got to go shower. I've got to eat breakfast. And then I'm just ready for work. Right. And so it sounds like counterintuitive, like, well, you're waking up early, so you're getting less sleep. You're going to exhaust yourself and exercise. How do you have more energy? And it's because I'm taking care of myself. So before 9 a.m., 10 a.m., I'm like the most healthy person on the planet. Like macros are crushing it. I'm already like half a gallon deep in water, and I'm cleaned and showered and I'm ready to start working, right? And so just know that even though I want to be not tired, and so that hopefully my people waking up before 6 a.m., being tired is also because we have an inconsistent sleep pattern. And most of the time it's because we wake up at a certain time during Monday through Friday, and then we go to bed later than normal on Friday. We wake up later than normal on Saturday. We go to bed later than normal on Saturday and wake up later than normal on Sunday. And then we wonder why like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday stinks so bad. It's because we don't have a consistent sleep routine. So getting into a consistent sleep routine, again, so I'm going to share y'all's feedback of how many hours of sleep y'all are getting. And if it's like 5 every day, you're probably going to be fine. If it's 6 every day, you're probably going to be fine. If it's 7 every day, you're probably going to be fine. But if it's 8 here, 6 here, 4 here, 3.5 over here, 9 over here, you'll never catch up on sleep. You'll never feel like you're caught up. You will always be tired. So part of this whole sleep challenge going on right now is for you to get consistent with a certain chunk of hours and just maximize that and become really efficient on whatever that time is, right? So my sweet spot, honestly, is like 5.5 hours. Every night I'm in bed by like 11 and I wake up around 4:30. And so that's my sweet spot. And I can have a fantastic day on 5.5 hours. Now, of course, if I sleep in on Saturday and sleep in on Sunday, first Saturday and Sunday, I'm probably tired because my body's not used to 8 hours or 9 hours of sleep. And then Monday stinks that much worse, right? Which is also why Jerry and I do legs on Monday, because the best way to wake me up in the morning is to make me do a really difficult workout. So that'll wake me up because the weekends are tough. We kind of let everything go on the weekend, which is why the challenge is what the challenge is. And so I hope we can start getting really efficient with our sleep routine. All righty. So I love it. Now, we have to be ready for change. So from a nutrition standpoint, a lot of times saying, yes, I'm going to sign up. Yes, I'm going to start eating better. Yes, I'm going to do that. We say it, but we aren't really ready for it. We aren't prepared mentally. We aren't prepared physically. We aren't prepared at home. We're just like, oh, I got to sign up because, I know it's good for me and yada, 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 right? We might not be ready. And sometimes that's okay. And then sometimes it's like, you know what? We've got to be ready. The time is now, right? And so knowing that it's going to take time, it's not going to be perfect, right? So I'm talking to Jerry today about his meal plan, because again, if y'all are new, if you just hop on the call, Jerry's on day 2 of his meal plan, helping him with substitutions, Like, hey, yeah, you've got, fish in the fridge. Absolutely. Go ahead and eat the fish. Go ahead and sub out this for that. What do you like? What don't you like? It's not going to be perfect, right? There's going to be a bunch of things that we're going to have to edit and adjust. It's going to be uncomfortable for him for a while. But going back to our change, it will get easier as we go, as long as we stay regular with it, right? And so I talk to people a lot about their meal plan and compliance to their meal plan. Well, it will always be difficult if you follow it 3 days a week. It will always be difficult because you're not doing it consistently enough. You're not doing it regularly enough. Do it 6, 7 days a week. Nowadays, if you guys follow me and you know I have the same breakfast every day, if you interrupt my breakfast, I'm mad. That's how consistent I am with my breakfast. Is like there's nothing in the world that will get in the way of my breakfast. And if something does, let's say I'm traveling or something, I'll have my breakfast for dinner. I'm not missing my breakfast, right? And so that's how regular I am with my 5 eggs, my cup or cup and a half of rice, some fruit, chocolate milk, used to be waffles, took out the waffles. And so get really regular, get so consistent with it that when you fall off track, that's more of an inconvenience than getting on track, right? And so it will always be an inconvenience to follow your meal plan if you do it sporadically. If you do it, well, like I'm gonna meal prep for Monday and Tuesday, but then I'm really gonna go out tonight for Wednesday night for dinner, and then forgot the meal prep for Thursday, and so I'm gonna order Uber Eats. It will always be a headache to follow a meal plan if you never really get consistent with it. So the best thing to do is get as consistent as possible, figure out your favorite foods and how to incorporate your favorite foods. And again, that way when you fall off, that is now the uncomfortable thing. And so I always use like going out to eat as an example. Most of the time when I go out to eat, my stomach is always upset that night or the next day. Like that's how much I follow my meal plan, that my stomach is messed up no matter what I eat, whether it's Chick-fil-A or whether it's a steak from some restaurant or whether it's tacos or wings, my stomach is always messed up because I follow my meal plan so much. My body's just not used to it. So keep that in mind. All righty. Now, when we fall off track, we have to have a plan and we have to notice it. So a lot of times, and someone made a Facebook post about this today, I don't forget who it was, but we have to notice when we fell off track and why we fell off track. Because if we notice, we call it notice and name. So if we notice it and we figure out why, then we can hopefully avoid it or get better at it in the future. All right. And so notice and name. So what's happening when you fell off your plan, right? Oh, well, coworkers invited me out. And so I went to this bar and we went to this restaurant or whatever. And I had some food and some drinks because everyone else was doing it. Okay, well, I don't expect you to tell them no. I don't expect you to not go out to eat with your coworkers, but I do expect you to maybe order a little bit healthier or try to mimic your meal plan with whatever's on the menu. And so if we have like a lean protein for dinner and some carbs, could I order a lean protein and some carbs and vegetables? Because whatever, vegetables are healthy for you. Could I order those at the restaurant? And the answer is yes. Even if you're at Chick-fil-A, the answer is still yes. I do expect you to order differently. Now, Lane is really good at this, and so is Emily, his wife, if y'all don't know Lane and Emily. Look at the menu before you go. Like there's so much power in pulling up the Chili's menu and saying, okay, I know what I got on my meal plan, and I'm looking at the menu, and there's this like grilled chicken thing over here. Boom, looks pretty good. I'm gonna order that before you even get to the restaurant. Because now when you sit down at a table with a bunch of friends and family and they're ordering this and they're ordering that and you haven't made up your mind yet, you're much much more easily, couldn't figure out that word, easily persuaded to order differently. And so if you go in with a plan and you say, nope, I already know I'm gonna get this grilled chicken meal, yada, yada, yada. No matter what everyone else is ordering, that's what I'm gonna get, right? Much less persuadable. That's another word. I made that up, I think, right? And so just know that looking at the menu before you go, coming up with a plan before you get there, and sticking to your plan when you get there will set you up for success always and forever. All righty. So let's take like a stressed situation. So that was a situation where someone invites us out. We're not going to say no. We're going to go eat. How can we get better there? Boom. I'm going to pre-look at the menu. I'm going to order something very similar to my meal plan, and I'm going to commit to that plan, and I'm going to commit to that order. Now, let's say something super stressful just happened in life and we want to binge on cookies, right? So what can I do there? I've got to notice and name it. I've got to figure out what is causing me to stress out. I've got to figure out um, if this is going to be a regular reoccurring thing, or was this just like, someone just threw something at me really crazy and this never happens, so on and so forth. And so if it is, we just categorize it as a spur of the moment crazy thing that kind of never happens. If it's a regular reoccurring thing, like it's work or it's family or it's whatever the case may be, like, oh, this happens all the time, but I still want cookies or I still want candy or I still want alcohol, whatever we're going to cope with this stress. If we can notice how we feel in those situations and develop a plan, then we can always again execute that plan as long as it's been premeditated in our head. So we say, okay, every day I'm stressed out about work. Every day I come home and I want to drink a glass of wine to take the I don't know what y'all call it, to take the ease off, to ease my nerves, to take the whatever. What am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Take the edge off. Gosh, take the edge off. Thanks, DJ. we've got to. Thanks, Kalila. We've got to come up with a plan, right? And so I always tell people, like, your one glass of wine that you've been drinking for the last 20 years is not taking the edge off anymore. It's like your alcohol tolerance is so high that's not happening, right? And so it's really just a habit of drinking something, right? So what up, Josh? Josh made it home safely. Everyone give him a round of applause. And so we really could just establish a much more healthy kind of coping mechanism. And so we do a lot of that with, I always tell people to separate the time, right? And so, and I think, Josh, we talked about this a little bit on a call, but if you feel stressed out and you have to go do something to cope with that stress, separate the time between being stressed and going to do this negative thing like drink alcohol or go grab a candy bar or whatever the case may be. So a couple helpful tools: go for a walk, right? Like, hey, before I go drink my wine, I'm going to go for a 20-minute walk. Before I grab my candy bar, I'm going to go for a 20-minute walk. Go exercise. I'm going to get a quick 20-minute workout, quick 30-minute workout, or a full hour workout, whatever the case may be. Go for a workout. Separate the time before you go grab something. Now, if you can't do either one of those things, I always separate time by grabbing healthy choices first and then going to get that unhealthy thing next. So, for instance, if we're going to go the alcohol route and say, I really just need a glass of wine to take the edge off, I challenge people to, drink like 2 bottles of water or 2 glasses of water before you go grab your alcoholic beverage. Because again, a lot of times it's just a habit of drinking something that we can avoid or get better at by drinking water, or it could be a protein shake, it could be BCAAs or an electrolyte supplement, whatever. Just drink something other than alcohol, preferably 0 calorie, to separate the time before you go get your alcoholic beverage. If it's a food thing, could we eat some protein? Could we eat some vegetables? Could we eat something that is healthier for us before we go get the candy bar? And so I always tell people if you could set a timer. And so it's like, I'm super stressed out, start a timer. Now, how long can you last before you go do your unhealthy thing? And so let's say in the beginning, it's 5 minutes. You're like, Joseph, tried to drink a protein shake, didn't work, had a glass of wine right after it. I hope your stomach hurts. I'm just kidding. I don't hope that for you. But protein and wine probably doesn't go good together. So if it lasted 5 minutes, the next time that it happens, could we push it out to 10 minutes? The next time that it happens, could we push it out to 15 minutes? So could we keep extending the time between the stressor and how we cope with the stress? And what you'll notice is at the end of it all, if we keep pushing it out, we'll find a sweet spot to where we don't crave that thing anymore. That craving has now gone away. Or it's bedtime and you don't have time to do that thing anymore and you've got to go to bed. So there's only positive outcomes there. All righty. So hope that makes sense with notice and naming, figuring out what it is, figuring out what's causing it and how to cope with it differently. All righty. Now, making the plan and sticking to the plan are 2 totally different things, right? So we can always make a plan. This is where discipline comes into play. But we're going to make a plan to drink the water. We're going to make a plan to go for a 20-minute walk or to go work out. We're going to make a plan to do yada, yada, yada. But you have to make sure it happens. All right, you have to make sure that you do it, or at least attempt to do it. So if you haven't read the book Atomic Habits, I highly encourage you to listen to the book Atomic Habits, because it talks about the simple action of just like putting your shoes on will help you feel more motivated to go work out. Go put your workout shoes on. If you're like, I really don't want to work out today, go to wherever you keep your shoes, put your workout, get dressed, get ready to rock and roll for your workout, put your shoes on, and then see how you feel. And just that little step of putting your shoes on, you're probably like, you know what? I can probably go work out. All righty. Brushing your teeth, huge. Oh my goodness, Natasha, so glad you brought that up. Brushing your teeth can change your cravings in an instant. It is probably the greatest thing ever. Deidre and I were talking about this because we both had Invisalign for a while. And we were like, man, I really can't snack on anything because I'd have to brush my teeth and then I gotta go put my Invisalign trays back in. I gotta take them out. I gotta brush my teeth. I gotta put them back in. And it was like such a hassle. But brushing your teeth, like if you brush your, this is why it's so funny to me, but I don't brush my teeth in the morning. Don't get mad at me. I promise I have no cavities. My teeth are great. But I don't brush my teeth in the morning because I eat breakfast in the morning and it ruins my craving for my breakfast and it ruins my taste buds for my breakfast. So I actually don't brush my teeth in the morning for that specific reason. But I brush my teeth at night, I promise. And I floss and I use mouthwash. All right, pinky promise. Don't yell at me for that. All right. So wrapping this all up, and then we'll have some time if y'all want to chat, or we can just get out of here a little bit early. So remember, trying to get rid of excuses, trying to stop them before they happen. Alrighty. So immediately when someone asks you to do something, or immediately when you tell yourself to do something, go do it, right? Or say, yes, I got this, or yes, I can do that, right? Become yes, man. Don't become, there's just not enough time in the day. I'm too tired. I can't do this, can't do that. Don't become that person. Try to change your mindset and say yes. And if you think it's easy, go watch Yes Man and watch how hard he struggles in the beginning to tell people yes. All righty. And then watch how it gets easier and easier over time. It's actually a great movie as an analogy for this call. Then remember to figure out who you are, right? Who am I? What do I want to be known as? How do I sell myself to other people and live up to what those things are? So I'm a mom, I'm a hard worker, I'm independent, all those things. Live up to those things in a positive way. Figure out what your values are, what is deeply important to you, what are the things that we have to, or what are the things that we care about most so that we have to take care of ourselves, all righty? If I say going back to values, reminds me of the experiment. To list what your values are, then go through your bank transactions to see how they align, because where you spend your money is where your priorities are. Crazy experiment. And she's 100% right. We always like, Natasha always tells me like, show me your bank statements and I can show your priorities, right? And so a lot of times you say, oh, I value this or I value that, or my priorities are this, my priorities are that, and where you're spending time, which is probably our most valuable asset or our most valued thing in our life, is not in alignment with what you're telling me. So love that, Natasha. So figuring out what's deeply important to you, what makes you the most, I'll use the word joyous. So what brings you the most joy, and then priorities, what should come first. And if our values were our family, our friend, our independence, all those things that we mentioned earlier, our top priority should probably be work. It should probably be to provide income or to have income, right? And so that can't happen if you are unhealthy. You cannot be a great employee if you are unhealthy. All righty. And if you're super healthy, you'll probably be a better employee and hopefully you get promoted and raises and stuff like that. So hopefully it all plays out to your favor. All right. Now get rid of the logs. Good one. Jojo said, when ordering or when eating out with friends, order first. So you don't have to sit there and listen to everything that they order. I love it. Good note, Josie. I love that. So getting rid of the logs. So what's in the way of us being successful, or what's in the way of us making change? A lot of times it's time, it's I'm tired, it's stress. All righty. So figure out how to time block your day a bit better. Figure out how to prioritize your day a bit better. Try to wake up a little bit earlier if you can. If you are tired and you cannot sleep anymore, then take better care of yourself internally. Change your nutrition, change your hydration, change your exercise, and I promise you, you will be less tired. All righty. And then if you're stressed, we've got to learn to let go, especially if it's outside of our control. All righty. If we cannot change it, you should not worry about it. And it is not easy, but learning to let go, or if you're faithful, you're like, you know what? Like this is in God's hands now, and it's outside of my control, and I'm going to pray on it and just let it go. All righty. That's probably the hardest one, is to learn to let go. And then you got to be ready to change. And so we can't just stay. And so I asked a question today, like in the Unconquerable group, and I was like, hey, like everyone's in here talking about change, but who's actually done it? Right. So we can talk about wanting to change all the time. We can sign up for meal plans all the time. We can sign up for a nutrition coach. We can sign up for boot camp classes. We can sign up for whatever we want. We can put money there, but it doesn't mean that you're going to do it. Right. And so you have to be ready to do it. Right. Now, just know that it's going to be uncomfortable. Just know that it's going to take time. You're not going to be perfect at it day one. You're not even going to like it day one. All right. But we have to try to be as regular and as consistent as possible. That way it will become comfortable, and it will become the new norm, and it will become kind of perfect for us. Right. As long as we're trying, and as long as we're doing it more often than not, I promise you it'll all work out. Okay. Now, what happens when we fall off plan and we're stressed and we're splurging and it's hard to get back on track? Notice and name. So notice what happened or what was going on that caused you to fall off track, and then give it a name. So was it work stress, or was it family stress, or whatever the case may be? Is it going to be regular and reoccurring, or is this just like a one-time thing? And we can deal with those things differently, but just know that my biggest piece of advice is to separate the time between the stressor and when you go do the unhealthy thing that you normally do to cope with the stress. So could we go work out? Could we go for a walk? Could we eat or drink differently to buy us some more time? A huge helpful tip: start a timer and see how long you can last. And if you go grab your Snickers bar in 5 minutes, that's totally okay. Next time it happens, I want you to try to push it to 10 minutes. I want you to try to push it to 15 minutes, and just try to keep pushing and separating that distance, because the cravings will go away. And for what Natasha said, if the cravings aren't going away or they're too strong, go brush your teeth. We can all brush our teeth a little bit more. So I love that idea. And then making a plan and sticking to it, right? So making your plan and sticking to your plan, two totally different things. So make sure we make it, but also make sure we have the discipline to incorporate it. And so wrapping this all up, when we compare ourselves to like the most successful people, or we always say like the top 1% of the world does this, and we throw out like some random statistic, right? But just know that I think everyone's a little bit uncomfortable when they are being challenged to be more successful in whatever it may be: health, fitness, nutrition. It's uncomfortable. It will always be uncomfortable. Business, right? And so exercise is really uncomfortable. Tyler, if you guys follow Tyler Wagner on Facebook or Instagram, he made a post about, and he stole it from Dr. Layne Norton, but they say, if I told you that this is going to cause you a bunch of pain, it's going to make your heart rate accelerate, it's going to put a whole bunch of toxins in your body, it's going to, potentially bring your blood levels to an acidity that is, detrimental to your health, would you still do it? And that thing was actually exercise, right? And so exercise is very uncomfortable in itself. Nutrition, I think, is 10 times more uncomfortable. And not because, eating healthy is gross, but eating healthy is so out of the norm to what other people are doing right now in today's society, that is what's actually uncomfortable. It's you're trying to take care of your health when no one else around you is. That is uncomfortable. And so just know it's going to be uncomfortable. But also know that you're not going to interrupt my breakfast. I don't care who you are, right? I don't care if the president walked into my house and was like, Joseph, we got to go. And I'll be like, sir, hold on. I got to finish my breakfast. And then I'll go, right? That's how much I love my breakfast. All righty. And so just know that it will get better as you go. The uncomfortableness, you'll get used to it. You'll tolerate it, whatever the case may be. Lauren's like, lies. I don't care. I'm staying. I'm eating my breakfast. All righty. And have a goal. So if you're part of Facts Over Fads, then we set you some small, short-term goals and long-term goals to hopefully give you motivation to truck on for a short period of time and kind of hustle to hit a short-term goal. And then we keep building off of those goals. All right. So my last bullet point is always know what's next, right? So again, when you guys hop on your call with me or Deidre and you kind of start sending out your short-term goals, like, hey, in the next couple of weeks, I want you to try to accomplish this. I already know where I want you to go if you do accomplish that. If you don't accomplish it, guess what? We're going to keep working on. We're going to keep working on those same things, right? So like Khalil and I were on our call today. She was getting her hair done. She was all getting done up. It was super cute. And I said, hey, here's where your two short-term goals from last time we chatted. How did you do there? And she was like, yeah, just so I crushed them. She was taking the stairs every day for work. She lost like 1.5 inches or 2 inches around her waist. So those were her 2 goals. We crushed it. I said, okay, boom. Here's going to be our next goal. And we just keep putting short-term goals 3 or 4 weeks away, 3 or 4 weeks away, 3 or 4 weeks away to hold you accountable in a more kind of tightly niched experiment, so to say. And hopefully we can increase some intensity there too. So we increase like intensity and focus to your goal, right? Saying, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds and me telling you, well, it's probably going to take you like 6 to 9 months. It's really hard to be intentional. It's really hard to not give up in 6 to 9 months. But if I'm like, hey, we're going to accomplish this in the next 3-4 weeks, that's much more easy to do. All righty. So final statements. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It will get better. You will get used to it, or you will learn to accept it, whichever one comes first. And then having a goal is huge. A lot of us, and so I posted in the Facts Over Fast group the other day, like, don't just wake up and let life just hit you in the face. Make sure that we have a plan, make sure that we have a goal, make sure that we're trying to execute to whatever our goals are. And so if it takes you some time to figure out a goal, because a lot of us probably might not have one, it's like, I don't really know what I want to do right now. It's okay. Think on it, figure out, go back to your identity, go back to your values, go back to your priorities, and then start to discuss what you think your goal should be. All righty. And then know what's next. Hey, if I hit my goal in 3 to 4 weeks, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? And so again, a helpful tool is to break it down from a long-term goal and then just start breaking it down to short-term goals. All right. So I've got my long-term goal of 50 pounds, but I've got my short-term goal of 3 pounds, right? Boom. I'm just going to chase this 3 pounds. I'm not going to worry about the 50. I'm only going to worry about 3. Or I'm going to try to get in, 5 workouts a week. Okay. We'll start with Monday and just make sure you show up Monday. And once you show up Monday, make sure you show up Tuesday. Once you show up Tuesday, make sure you show up. If you just start thinking about the whole week and we don't kind of force ourselves to show up, we will convince ourselves to say, I can skip today because I still have Saturday to like make it up. Or I'm not going to go in the morning because I'm actually going to go at night. Don't make those excuses with yourself, right? Just knock it out. Make a plan. Make sure we hit the plan, execute the plan, take action on the plan, hit the goals, and set new goals. Heck yeah. I love it. All done. I will stop the recording